Okay, so, Grandmaster Proving Grounds. We're a tad bit late on this, but hey, better late than never, you know? So, Proving Grounds is, I think, this season at least, one of the easier GMs in the game. Maybe overall in total now that they've updated Arms Dealer and Lake of Shadows. That's just my personal opinion. Maybe it's how we've been power crept and just the setups now with the power creep have kind of just made the strike, I don't want to say obsolete, but definitely much more breathable than before. Before, you had people like, oh, you must bring double Ursas, you have to protect yourself at all costs, at all times, you know, wait out 15 rounds of fireballs, play extremely safe for 45 minutes. Now it's like, yeah, we're just going to beat the crap out of everything. So in this video, you're going to be watching us do a quote-unquote normal run of GM Proving Grounds after we did a -40 run of this with Strand only and triple conditional finality, which was fun, by the way. Those will be separate videos in case anybody's curious. But for this, I'm just going to go straight into it. Recommendations. Let's start with classes. So, any class, of course, can do any GM if you just set your mind to it. For specifically individual classes / subclasses, I'm just going to tell you guys now, your options are going to be either Strand on whatever character you want, or a non-Strand subclass. So for Warlocks, you go Strand or Well of Radiance, preferably Well of Radiance, I think, for this one. That's just me personally. For Titan, I think going Strand Titan is definitely the better play, just because Woven Mail is actually really, really stupid, and the whole, you know, suspension abuse of these champions is really key. You don't really need a Thunder Crash. I think Ursas are just played out for Banner Shields, and it doesn't provide you much value other than, okay, sit behind me for 15 seconds. And then finally, Hunters, you can either go Strand again, or you would go Night Stalker, because in this particular Nightfall, the Fireballs, you can break their line of sight on you by using your Dodge Camo with Hunters, among just, you know, going Invis, getting your Revives for teammates, using Tether for debuffs, blah, blah, blah. Very helpful. Or just go Strand and just suppress everything. Alright, so gun-wise, it's very, very lenient on what you can run gun-wise. Personally, I think the #1 MVP for this Nightfall is going to be Skyburner's Oath, a gun that literally everyone should have, unless you just started playing the game. And this gun makes this GM a meme for the most part. As you guys know, the Colossus at the beginning of the strike, as well as the final boss of the strike, put up these barrier shields with the Cabals when they hit half health for the Colossus or every third bar for the final boss. And what Skyburner's Oath does is laugh in its face, and then you're able to shoot it from anywhere you want because it pierces the barrier and takes the thing out very, very easily. So basically, with Skyburners, all you have to do is just line yourself up between the Colossus and the mechanism in the middle, and just keep shooting it. The Colossus won't hit you, and you'll break the thing, and then the shield's gone. For the final boss, we'll talk about that later, but you can do the same thing there too. As for other weapons, in this particular GM, I think either Fixed Odds or Commemoration are solid for ad clear purposes. You can shoot down tank legs with it, you can shoot the interceptors, just very solid. And of course, you know, volatile rounds with Commemoration this season goes very, very boom! And then it also destroys barriers because of anti-barrier volatile rounds, blah, blah, blah. For Warlocks, by the way, if you're running Well of Radiance, don't forget, your Well is anti-barrier. It gives you Radiance by default, and you pierce any barrier you want. And also, your Melee gives you Radiance, which will then give you anti-barrier rounds as well. Outside of those choices, you're welcome to run whatever you'd like. Your usual, you know, Rockets, Divinity, what have you. Totally fine. I just personally think Skyburners and an LMG make a joke of this Nightfall. In your kinetic slot, you can run something like a Riptide Chill Clip if you have that in your arsenal, just to freeze stuff, and also, you know, freeze a barrier if you need it in a pinch, things like that. But you could totally run like a sniper, like, let's say, Succession if you like, or even a pulse rifle just to have a gun for barrier champions, rather than, depending on, like, volatile rounds and stuff. And for the strike itself, let's just go into strategy real quick. I mentioned the Colossus strat already, so I'm going to skip over that. Basically, get in line of sight of the Colossus and the mechanism in the middle. If you're staring through the thing at him, he will not shoot you because, I don't know, the AI is dumb. And that's it. You break the barrier, then you kill the Colossus, and you head in the ship. Once you're in the ship and you get to the tank part, there's two things that I recommend you do in this room. First, when you drop in, sit back and try to kill as many trash mobs as possible. Just kill the Legionnaires. Don't immediately worry about interceptors. They're not that important as long as you keep your distance and stay behind one of the walls. They won't kill you. Then things will start falling in through the middle. Start killing those either Arc, Void, / Solar, Colossus that come through the middle. Then worry about the barrier champions. Again, you have Radiance, you have Volatile Rounds, you may have Arbalist, a Pulse Rifle, whatever, and then nuke those barriers down. Once you start whittling down the enemies in the room, and let's say you have either one Interceptor remaining, or you have the last Yellow Bar remaining, for example, the Scion Yellow Bar Captain that sometimes is in the room, what you want to do is have that last enemy remaining in the back of the room, so you don't want to have like a front Interceptor remaining, or you want to have a Yellow Bar in the back remaining. And then what you do in this room is you go towards the left side, and you go to the top left near where the left tank would spawn. There will be a door on the side panel where you can stand by. There's also a giant wall to your right in that very same corner. You'll see it on screen here. And here, it's a perfect place for a Well of Radiance to pop for a couple of reasons. First up, you'll have several of the Yellow Bar enemies coming at you from the left side, so they'll be just food waiting to get killed immediately when they come out the door. Second, you can see the left tank immediately as soon as you proceed into this portion of the encounter, which means you can nuke the tank before it even gets out of the gate. Third, once you kill that tank, you can choose to either kill the second tank immediately as well while you're in Well of Radiance, or if you're not ready to kill the second tank just yet, you can also shoot both barrier champions that have spawned during this, because again, you're in Well of Radiance, and you have unlimited anti-barrier rounds to just nuke them down. Then you just combine, you know, your Strand Suspension plus Fusion Grenades from Well of Radiance, and they'll die within a snap, basically. And then either both tanks are down, or you then work on the second tank, and then you proceed with the encounter. Now, if your well runs out and you haven't cleared all of that down, don't panic. You can simply just back out and go to the back left of the room as you did when you entered, and then work your way up from there. But for the majority of the room remaining, you should already have most things dead, and you will breathe a lot easier than if you were just sitting back in the room the entire time and not pushing up to that left panel door that I mentioned. Now, I'll be honest here, I don't think you guys need a guide on how to kill trash mobs between the tank room and the boss room, so we're just going to skip over that. Just have, you know, your finishers ready for Aeons if you need some ammo for your heavy slot. And other than that, kill the champs, take it slow, move on. Now, once you get to the boss room, the first thing I want to note as a tip is if you have a Well of Radiance or for some reason a bubble, make sure that you place that in the top left of the room before you scan the whole, you know, boss activation thing in the middle, because you can pop your well, then scan it, and then get a second well for free. So why not? Then, when the boss fight starts after that, fireballs will come out from the boss. Make sure to shoot those down. Once you start wailing on the boss now, after 5 to 10% of the boss's health gone, 6 enemies will spawn in, a Phalanx and 2 Legionnaires right above you guys, and then 3 of those across the arena from you. Kill those, they're not very threatening, and once you're done with that, keep your eye on the fireballs. Now, Skyburner's Oath that I mentioned earlier in the video at the beginning, now, this is the part where it just doesn't care. So what you do here is you can either stay in a formation inside your well and just keep shooting the barrier in the middle of the arena once the boss puts it up at 66% health, or you can try to have your Skyburner player split off from you, so 2 players would stay at the top left of the arena, like I mentioned, at the start, and then the Skyburner person would deviate from them and go on the opposite end, and then start shooting the barrier with Skyburner's Oath for free, and eventually you would just shoot it down without ever having to actually move into the middle to get inside the barrier and fight the boss. Meanwhile, your teammates can just be shooting the fireballs if they happen to be coming at you in the sky. Now, another thing to note is when the boss goes to 66% health, 2 unstoppable champions will spawn, 1 from the left side door of the arena and then 1 from the right side. Just have somebody ready with unstoppable rounds or suspension, ready to just wail on that champion, kill him immediately with whatever heavy you have, and then wait for the other one to come over slowly. Again, keep note of the fireballs in the sky. Rinse repeat until both champions die and have the barrier broken, and at this point, the fight basically resets, where you just keep shooting the boss again. Once you get the boss down to 33%, the exact same thing will happen. You will have 2 champions come out, 1 from left, 1 from right, and while this is also happening, the boss will start heading back towards the spawn point of the arena where they originally came out of. Now, the barrier will again go up on the arena, and it will stay up there this time. All you have to do at this point is simply ignore everything and go back to the entrance of the room. That's it. That's literally it. You go back to the entrance, the Unstoppables will have no choice but to chase you, so they'll be on your time. You can stun them as much as you want and kill them for virtually free, and then free Aeon finishers if you like as well. Meanwhile, again, Skyburner's Oath will make a complete joke of this room and a meme of that barrier, where you can just safely shoot it at scout range with Skyburners and break the barrier absolutely for free, and then the boss will come down after that, basically making his balls very, very tiny. In-game, of course. Once the boss comes down, this is where you start nuking with your supers, your Well of Radiance, your pocket nuke fusion grenades with Starfire, and what have you. There will be some trash mobs to kill as well. Again, I believe like 6 Legionnaires/Phalanxes will be out and about, but they are not a big threat. At this point, if you haven't killed the boss immediately with your supers, just spread out in the event that the boss does try to fire fireballs at you one more time, and you can easily take them down. And at this point, it's just a cakewalk to finish the boss and complete the strike. Then the GM is complete, and as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I think, for the most part, if you have these strats down, Proving Grounds is a fairly easy GM to complete in this current day and age with all the power creep. And hopefully that helps you get your Hung Jury God that you may be looking for, or maybe some Ascendant Shards/Prisms that you may be farming to upgrade your stuff. That's all for this one. If you enjoyed, like, share, subscribe. It does help the channel. Much appreciated. And I'll catch you guys in the next GM Guide video. I'll be doing one for all of them this season. Probably have Mars and Hypernet up next, since they're new and people are probably getting used to those the most. Other than that, catch you in the next one. Comment below if you have a question. Okay, bye.